well, we'll get started. If any more people wandering, there's plenty to see. This year actually marks 10 years of RISC OS. We released it at the Wakefield Show in 2014. Big upgrades in the London Show 2014, including postcodes. And lots of updates ever since, including quite a significant one about 3 years ago with RISC OS version 2, which improves the speeds of the map loading, particularly when you're looking at small-scale maps, and ever-increasing range of plugins and adapters and so on. So, without further ado, we're just going to look at, first of all, the Nomine plugin. So, Nomine is a database based on OpenStreetMap data, which basically indexes all the names in OpenStreetMap. And it's always been integrated into RISC OS. If you go to the new map window and say type the Sonic Center, I can't type, there we go, the Sonic Center Harrow, and we press return or this little icon here, it will go away and search and not found any results. That was good, I should have tested that one. I did try it earlier on.
HA30EL.
Pardon?
HA3.
Well, yeah, that's the postcode database, which is on the actual machine. Anyway, we'll try. Yeah, I should try something. I'll tell you what, we'll do the cache machines near Kenton. And here are some cache machines near Kenton, well, not all near Kenton, but anyway, we've got Kenton mentioned in various ways, as you can see. So it's always had this Nomine database adapter, which uses a web API to go and fetch things. And what we introduced a couple of years ago was a way to integrate Nomine lookup into your own applications. Don't know that anyone's done that yet, but we've integrated it to our own applications. So Recce, which is the add-on for RISC OS that does Street View and weather and all sorts of other exciting things, you can do. You can open this window, and this bit up here at the top, where it's giving you a choice of where to search, is actually provided by Nomine. It is a child window which Nomine is looking after. And you have a simple set of messages which your application can send to get that child window embedded anywhere on any of your windows, and then Nomine will send a message to you whenever you've got a result back. So if I just put in a postcode, that Nomine is looking that up in RISC OS's data, and when I click the display button, we will then get a Street View picture pulled in for that postcode. Similarly, you can go and look up weather. We're heading off straight after this show. In fact, straight after this talk, we're leaving about 3 o'clock because unfortunately there was a train collision earlier in the week, and so the trains are all disrupted getting to mid-Wales. So we're heading off to Tallinn, and the weather forecast doesn't look too bad, to be honest.
Which Tallinn?
There's more than one Tallinn. This is the one with the railway. And similarly, if you use our A to B software, which is for route planning, we might want to go, for example, from Shrewsbury railway station, and Nomine will identify that, and we'll go to LL36 9EY, and it'll be the replacement bus service which will be travelling potentially this sort of route. You get all of the turn directions, including a graphical visualization of each junction, which is based on the OpenStreetMap data, and we can show that on the map, which is warning is going to take a long time, but I'm going to go for it anyway and hope it's fast enough that you won't get too bored while I'm going on to the next bit. So all of those things where I was just demonstrating these place selectors are all provided by Nomine, so that you can do that in your own applications. It's all documented in the Nomine help as to how that works. And as you can see, as well as typing in things, there is a little menu, and that shows the places that you've looked up recently, the last 10 places, and you can drag and drop a pin onto the map if you so choose. That's all nice stuff. Plus you can drop a photo on. So let me just move on to some other things. In April, we released a number of applications written in Python using the Python Toolbox integration, which Chris Johns has been working on. And we've released these with lots of comments in the code to make it easier for people to follow what we've done and write their own applications in Python. So we have a thing called GPX Player, which allows you to play back tracks of routes that you might have travelled where you've recorded it with a GPS device. There is a thing called Map Walker. So Map Walker is a very simple application. It allows you to choose a location in the world. I'm just going to demonstrate. You see, when you've got a nominative selector like this, you can drop a photo onto it, and if the photo has geographic locations in it, it will then pick that up. So Map Walker simply opens a map, and you then have these little arrows, and this just demonstrates one application talking to RISC OS and moving a pointer around the map. It's very unsophisticated and not desperately useful.
What counts as a location for photo dropping purposes, and what sort of photo is that?
So if you've got a camera which has a GPS integrated into it, more upmarket cameras might do that, or if you've got a phone camera, they very often will record the location that the picture is taken unless you turn that off, and you'll find it's reasonably accurate. So you may well have a lot of photos already with that kind of information in. So that's another example of a Python application. We've got, sorry, this isn't very clear. Yeah, so we've got GPX Player, Map Walker. MPD client is for talking to a music player client, so it's got nothing to do with maps, but it's quite an interesting program because it's talking over sockets to another device. And we also have water levels down here. Water levels talks to the Environment Agency API, and it can go and look up. Go and look up places where they monitor water levels, like this. And if we control click, you'll see down the bottom of the window there, it says further information from water levels. If we control click, it will go and get the data for the last week or so. We can save a CSV file, and if you actually go and get more than one of these at a time, is that another one? Yeah, here's another water levels thing. You'll find that we've now got 2 or 3 appearing in the window. I'm going to cut out the rainfall station because they don't work very well together. But if we go and get fireworks, we can drop that CSV file onto there. Load it in as a sheet. Whoops, I've gone and... Sorry, it goes and pops up an extra window, doesn't it, when you do that? Let's try again. Load it in as a sheet, and we want to insert over the right of the back cells. There we have the date, time, and the locations for those readings all interleaved. And if I could remember how to do this, I'd do a quick chart and show you all the auto levels going up and down, but I've got a lot to get through, so just pretend I did that.
Do the APIs come with it and they're embedded in it?
So
you've got to go get them?
So what happens with water levels... what's going on here? Right. So with the water levels Python application, and with this one called police data, which goes and interrogates police crime statistics, that was written in BASIC, if that's your preferred language. Water levels is Python. Both those APIs don't require any API key or any registration to use them, so we've just put all the code in there that you need to talk to those APIs. But it would be a relatively simple matter if there was an API you wanted to talk to that does require registration. You could register for it and you could write something along the same lines to do whatever you were needing to do. So both of those applications are useful little things which you might be able to adapt to other purposes. So now we're before I move on from RISC OS, we're going to stick with RISC OS, but we're going to talk about something slightly different. The other major feature that's been added to RISC OS just since September is that when you save a draw file, sorry, that's not the export map, that's right. If you save a draw file, there is now an option which is ticked by default to include geodata in hidden objects so that the file can be loaded back into RISC OS. So it's a very long-winded option, but it does what it says on the tin. So the draw file format is quite extensible. We've applied for and registered some extra objects to use in the draw file so that when you export the map as a draw file, it will keep a record inside that draw file of exactly what settings you used to generate the map. So what was the page size? Where was the centre of the map? Was north at the top, or was it 30 degrees round? Which style sheet was being used? Were there any routes being displayed on the map? All sorts of things like that. And that means that you can very easily reproduce that map again if you want to. If you've only kept the draw file, maybe you've embedded it in the document, you can get that draw file, drop it back onto RISC OS. RISC OS will spot it's got those special objects in, and it'll recreate the map with exactly the same settings, but potentially with updated map data, because you've gone and updated your map data in between. We've also found it really useful for bug reports. So if you find something wrong on the map, and there are going to be things that you'll find wrong because we found them on the train on the way down, you can send us a draw file with that option ticked, and we'll be able to reproduce this and work out what's going on much quicker. Because we used to have to say, oh, what paper size were you using? I can't see what's going wrong here, and what's the date of your data, and all that kind of stuff. So that's a nice little feature. Anyhow, we'd better move on quickly because there's some more things to say. So in September, we added this place selector to Impact. So I've got an example here of a photo database, and we've got some pictures in here. I can view a map because this photo already has a location. The Reichenbach Falls, where Sherlock Holmes wrestled with Moriarty. Very impressive, actually. And this set location button uses a little function within Impact, which will open up a window, and here again is the Nomine place selector being used from Impact. And if we want to choose, let's say, actually, no, I didn't take that photo there, I took it further up this road. then we can select that. And when I click select, you will see the longitude and the latitude on the card update, and it will also insert the location that Nominism is given as the name of the location, which of course you can then edit. So you can then save that in your database. So one thing you can do, of course, is if some of your photos in your database don't have locations, you can set them, and the ones that have locations already will already be there, or you can tweak them if you need to. Now, we have also added a feature so that impact can be interrogated from RISC OS. I probably whizzed over this a bit rapidly, but I've a lot to get through. But when you're on this map, you've got this Find Web Photos and Geodata window, and you'll see that there are various options for getting information like Google Street View and the weather map and so on. Now, all of these are being provided by other applications that RISC OS is talking to. So most of these are actually being provided by Recce. But you'll see here that the photo database, which I've just opened in Impact, is appearing because I have configured this database so that it knows that it has geographic information in here which it can offer to RISC OS. So I'm just going to go back to Kenton, where we are now, and we'll draw a map. And I'm going to go and open in Impact a database called Railway Stations. So we obtained from a national data source locations of all the railway stations in the UK, and here is this database. So lots and lots of them. Now that the database is open, it's appearing on RISC OS's search window. And if I choose to find all the railway stations within the map area and fetch them, oh dearie me, that's not very good. What's gone wrong there? Hang on, shouldn't do that. Ah, sorry, looks like I've picked the wrong thing. Let's just try again. Yes, there we are. So it's bringing back all the railway stations. If you know the area, you will realise that it's only national rail stations that we're showing here, and it's not got ones which are exclusively Transport for London. But we could do this elsewhere in the country as well. It also has an option for searching by radius, so within a certain distance of the pointer. Another new feature for RISC OS for this release is that if I just reduce it down, you'll see that it now places a circle on the map to show you what that radius actually means in practice. Before that, before this release, you just had to guess, but that you now actually do get an indication on the map. And we can search other databases as well. I've got one here which is blue plaques in a town called Beeston near Nottingham. I'm going to search for the term Chilwell, and anywhere in the database. So it has found 4 points, but none of them are on the map. So I'm going to go and look on the pins and tracks window in RISC OS, and here are the Beeston blue plaques. I'm going to say I want a new map showing the folder contents, and up pop these locations. We can control click on a point to open it in the database, so we can actually move from one database card to another via the click of the map. So I think there are two more which are just off the bottom there. That's it. This one is a plaque about the explosion during the First World War in the Ordnance Depot, just to the west. Down here we've got a grave relating to the Chilwell explosion. Now, if we go to Durham, further example here. We have a database based on traffic cameras from County Durham. So if I go and search these traffic cameras for the A177, and we've got 5 traffic cameras here. It's giving us 2 links for each one. We can either open them in the database like that, or we can open the website for the camera. And because the Durham County Council cameras are fairly old technology, it actually displays very nicely in NetSurf. And you can look back in a minute and a different picture will appear. I noticed when I was preparing this demo that actually I haven't got anything on the card here to open the camera. So we've got this database here full of camera links, but there's nothing there to open it. So I'm just going to show you quickly how to do that. We're going to add an action button. We're going to call the action button View Camera. And we need to set a field name for the action, which I'm just going to call View. And then we'll set the program, which is very simple. It's just the URL command, and the name of the field was link. So this should be sufficient to redefine the card. If we click View Camera, up will pop. Well, that link is clearly bad, but maybe this one's all right. Oh dear. Well, there's nothing wrong with what it's sending through to NetSurf. It's just bad data. So there we go. Right, and just to show you how this is set up, if we've got a database with geographical data, it has to be the latitudes and longitudes at the moment. We're not coping with grid references or postcodes. That's something we might add in the future, possibly soon. Not sure. But if you've got latitude and longitude, then you can set up this configuration. And you basically declare here the name by which you want the data set to appear in RISC OS. So that's how it appears, not in that window, how it appears in that window, Durham traffic cameras, you see. And a description, which you'll see if you hover over the option there. And then which fields does it need to use? The latitude is in the field which I happen to call latitude, similarly the longitude. And then we're sending through the name and the description like that. And you'll see the search fields bit at the bottom. That determines which fields are actually looked in if the user does a search from within RISC OS. So you type in the terms in the search term box there. These are the fields in the databases it's going to look at. So that's all under your control as to which fields are used. And the interesting thing is, well, one of the interesting things is that you can actually set up more than one data set for a single database. So I'm going to just create what's called a filter in Impact. I'm going to be testing the camera area, and I'm looking for the data Bishop Auckland. In this data set, the camera areas are either Bishop Auckland or Durham. So if I then turn on that filter, you'll see we've got some Bishop Auckland cameras here. Go back to the geodata choices. I can add a new data set. I'm going to call it Bishop Auckland cameras. The filter, I can then apply a filter, you see, so I can limit it just to the records that match that filter that's defined in the database. The rest of the settings, it's copied the other one by default because generally that's probably what you want. You can change them, you can send different fields through if you want. So if I save that, you'll now find that in RISC OS we've got Bishop Auckland cameras has appeared. And if I remove that search term, we can then go and fetch them, and there are 7 of them, which are not on the current map. If I went to Bishop Auckland, we'd then see them. So it's quite versatile as to how you set it up. and we're hoping that's going to meet most conceivable needs. Right, I've now got maybe 5 minutes or so to show you a really practical application of this for photograph databases. So we've now got in the tutorial section for Impact, we have a photo database, and as you can see, I've already got a few things in it. If I go to RISC OS and search my photo database for Xion, we will find there are 6 pictures. Again, we'll go to the Hints and Tracks window and ask it to draw the map. We have noticed when doing this demo that actually it would be nice when it finds them if you could just get the map shown straight away, so that's something we'll be thinking about. So here are the pictures appearing from this rather fine castle of the Counts of Savoy on Lake Geneva, and we can control click to open the database card, and in there we can double click to look at the picture. The castle was on a very important north-south trade route through the Alps, which is why it was valuable. It controlled that route and they could exert tolls. As you can see, it's still on a very important north-south route because there is a brand new road, and if we look at the one of the other pictures, the one over here, oh, it's just gone off the map. How annoying. Yes, there we are. You'll also see a very fine view of this castle with the railway line, also north-south railway line in the picture. And we got a bonus that day when going to the castle because they had a very fancy track relaying machine working away just outside. So we stopped and watched that for a while. It was quite fascinating. Anyway, Andrew was talking about what he did over his summer in his talk, and so a bit of that's creeping into ours. So, I'm going to page through the database a little bit. We've got some pictures of glaciers. I just want to view that one on the map. This is up the top of the Jungfraujoch near Interlaken. Now, there are some of these pictures which don't actually have a location on them. So, the great thing is, if you page through your photos in date order, the ones that have locations, you can use as a clue to working out what on earth the other ones are. So, having placed this one on the map, for example, I can then move along one and think, okay, yeah, I'll set the location for this one as well to be roughly there, say, and it'll then put the latitude and longitude in. I can then complete my database. Save that, and then next time I fetch the photos for this area within the map area. Oh, this is not very good. This seems to be playing up. Have I got some settings wrong there? Well, it's because it's searching for Xion. Get rid of the search term, and we'll now get 5 results, including that one I've just added the location for.
Excuse me, does it put the location you just put in the metadata of the picture, or just in the database?
It's only in the database, I'm afraid. Adding it to the JPEG would be really nice to do. The tricky thing there is that JPEGs are quite complicated. There are several different data blocks. Some of them are proprietary, and most of them have pointers to fields which are offsets from the start of the file. But if it's a proprietary data block, you've no idea which things are offsets and which things are just data. So if you're starting inserting something in the file to make it longer, you could easily break all the other data blocks because you don't know what's in them. So it's really frustrating. We might look at that a bit further because it would be nice to achieve, but I think it's technically a little bit tricky because of the rather poor design for how JPEG metadata works. Anyhow, of course, I might want to add some more pictures to my database. So, luckily, I have some pictures with me. So, here is, I'm going to create a new record in Impact by clicking on the data entry icon there, and we're going to drop a picture from Vienna onto the picture area. Now, normally all that would happen in an Impact database is the picture would appear, but because there is an action script associated with this file object in Impact, it's using some functions to read all sorts of information out of the JPEG and populate the data. So we've got obviously the JPEG file type and the file size and the file data have been read, but also the image date has been read from inside the file. And you can see they're different. That's when it was actually taken. This is when the file was last modified. We've got the width and height of the image. A caption has been entered. I entered those captions using variations just for demonstration purposes. You may or may not have any captions in your JPEGs, depending on whether your camera automatically puts a description in. And then we've got the latitude and the longitude out. So I can then save that and we'd be able to put it on the map like all of the rest. But the other really nice feature is the import tool. The import tool in Impact used to be limited to importing CSV. So you could drop a CSV file on here, choose which fields map to where, and pull in, create a load of new records. But now you can grab a load of files, pop them on here. It will scan into subdirectories if you've dropped subdirectories on. Well, there are choices as to whether you go deep down into the subdirectory or not. And there's an option to scan files for additional information. This only applies to JPEGs at present. We're not looking at other data just yet. But if people have ideas and want things, we could have a go at adding them. So if I click continue, it'll then open a standard window for the import tool, showing all the data that you're about to import. You can then choose the fields that you want to import into. As it happens, I've designed this database so the field names perfectly match the metadata fields as it reads in, so there's nothing more to do apart from click import. And we've now got 72 new records in our database from various places, mainly around Switzerland and Vienna and Slovenia. Oh yes, that was good. This is the wonderful fire duct, whose name I've gone and forgotten, where it goes straight over the bridge and into the tunnel, which must have been fun to build.
I was featured on one of the great railways of Europe.
I'm not at all surprised. So I think that's most of what I have to say. Are we about up to time?
I was going to say about a couple of minutes more.
We could have a couple of questions. I ought to say there was also some enhancements to Impact's keyword searching and date searching. It is now possible to search for things like June 2023 instead of an exact date, and it will find all the things in June in a much more intuitive manner, because it's not quite working as perfectly as I thought it was. So there will be some more enhancements on that as well. But yeah, questions and comments and things. Over to you.
In A to B, if I look for something, because I've got Australia, and Australia comes up at the top of the choice, can I force the British Isles to come to the top?
Yes, I think you can. Probably what you need to do, and it's not quite as intuitive as it should be, is to go into, if you go and run Nomine, which I can find here, the choices in Nomine show your default map for the gazetteer. So go and pick it in there, and then that will apply to all applications which are using Nomine. What we probably ought to do is a message to enable A to B to open that bit of Nomine's choices, so you find that more easily.
Right, I know we've got that.
Yeah, but that's how you do that. So anyway, the new version of Impact is released today. It's up on the website. All of our new stuff was uploaded yesterday afternoon. There'll probably be some more updates in a fortnight or so because we found 1 or 2 bugs on the train. I'm afraid we're having to leave the show early at about 2:45, so if you want to come and see us, make haste. But we will be responding to any online orders as well as we can over the next few days before we get back to Durham. So thank you very much for coming, and do let us know if you've got any ideas, and we'll see what else we can add.
Thank you.